ta'ala wa barakatuh, and welcome to Islamic Voices Live. Brothers and sisters, you are all watching what is taking place, one phase after the other in Gaza. And what is taking place in Gaza is going to have global consequences. It's very clear. The effect it may have in the surrounding states, namely Jordan, Egypt, Lebanon, and even Turkey. And there may be consequences that are being planned now that Muslims may realize later, as we have realized the consequences of British mandate or Balfour Declaration today. We are feeling it till today, and we are feeling it in our blood and our guts, and our children are feeling it across the Muslim world. And we are paying a price that was never probably even in the imaginations of the Muslims. To discuss the details, what is the plan? The stages of war? What are the powers that be? What are they planning? What will the day after in Gaza look like? And to discuss that, we have no other than Dr. Malkawi, live from Jordan, and we'll be discussing the stages of war, inshallah. Dr. welcome to Islamic Voices.
Okay, assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much. Thanks again for having me on this program. We hope that we can contribute to the real solution of the problems rather than just talking about them.
Yes, Jazakallah khair. And this is why we are having, well, to be honest, this show is making impact, it seems. Even, in ways we never thought imaginable. Obviously, there are people who have an eye on the ideas that are being presented here. Sheikh, here we are some 50-some days of the war in Gaza. There doesn't seem to be any slowdown for the state of Israel. The Americans yesterday gave the green light for ammunition that needs to be provided for the tanks of the Israeli tanks. Close to, I think some $1 million. At least they're saying this will be ammunition. Then obviously you've heard of the Security Council decision that was made to make sure that the war continues. What is it that we don't know, Dr. Abdullah? I mean, obviously the Security Council means there are other states, powers that be, who do understand certain things, but it seems like there is a very clear strategy between the US and Israel on what they intend to do with this war.
Well, again, assalamu alaikum, brothers, and all the brothers who are watching or will be watching us at any point of time. The issue is not what is being, what are the hidden plans. It's what are the plans that we don't read. That they are there, they are already public. And allow me to use the word the Israelis, although I personally do not admit or recognize the state of Israel as a legal state, but for the sake of the audience, that's what they know. So I will use this word, not without any connotation to it. The Israelis have not hidden their plans. Their plan is to have a completely Jewish state. And the Jewish state means a state that has only Jews. Israel does not have a constitution, and that's not because of their ignorance. In fact, it's because of their deep planning, because a constitution, usually one of the first articles is to define who is a citizen of the country. Israel does not have that, because they don't want to be caught on paper on their definitions, because their real definition deep inside is that this is a state, a Jewish state for the Jews. If there are other people who are living there, they can live on temporary basis, they can be given visas, they can be naturalized for some, based on some conditions, with certain rights, that's as any other country in the world. But the Jewish characteristic of the state has been today spelled more than once by Netanyahu, of course, million times. Biden, when he was in Tel Aviv meeting with Netanyahu, he concluded his statement, when he was giving a statement, concluded that we are completely behind and we support a Jewish democratic state of Israel. Now, the other day, Biden. Oh yes, this is the last statement of Biden. Anyone who would like to check when he was with Netanyahu making his talk, solidarity talk, if you will, with him, he concluded that with the support of America for a Jewish state in Israel. The one, it was, I think it's almost 1 week ago or 10 days ago, he explicitly mentioned that there will be no stability in the Middle East unless there is complete recognition by all Middle Eastern states to recognize a Jewish state of Israel. Again, one more time. So this is not hidden anymore. Now, what does that mean? Now, the Israelis now, they have the objective and the will and the power to make that happen. In order to make that happen, there is an eviction plan. This whole war that's happening in Gaza is about evicting people from Gaza into other places. Now, there is one more plan that just surfaced, which was published, I think, in New York Times, talking as the Israeli-American plan to disperse 2 million Palestinians from Gaza, where 1 million will be in Sinai in Egypt, 500,000 will go to Turkey, 250,000 will go to Iraq, and 250,000 go to Yemen. I mean, they have places already designated for them, for the eviction. Now, some people could argue, oh, how could this happen, that you evict people from Gaza, then out of a sudden they are all over the world? Well, just remember what happened to the Syrian people. They were evicted, or they were forced to migrate from Syria to Turkey and to Jordan. These are the two, and Lebanon. But eventually, from Jordan, they migrated, or they were facilitated to migrate to Canada. Almost half of the people who migrated to Jordan ended up in Canada. More than half of the people who migrated to Turkey, or who were evicted to Turkey, not migrated, evicted to Turkey, they are now in Europe or in Canada or in the US. And probably you have seen many of these refugees in your own Islamic oasis coming there. How did these people come there? They came because there was a plan. Somebody organized that these should not remain in the vicinity of the Syrian borders, because they may make a big impact on the stability of Syria. And the same thing about the people from Gaza. Now, it doesn't stop there. It will go beyond. Already, the talk about the West Bank being evicted, or force them to leave and flee to Jordan, or even worse than that, there are talks and plans about the Palestinians in the northern part of Palestine, or what's called Israel today. These are the ones who stayed after 1948, who did not leave or were not evicted to Jordan or to Lebanon or to Syria, and those are also under the target. Now, the war today, coming back to the veto, why the United States refused to stop the war now, or to allow the Security Council resolution to pass, and they used their veto against it. They just wanted to give the Israelis one more chance. How long does it take you? Take a few more weeks until January, or in fact there was a statement until the beginning of next year. Now, beginning of next year, I saw a program on TV by Al Jazeera. The anchor was asking the person from some US official, telling them, look, the word beginning of year is very vague. Beginning of the year could mean January, February, March, April, until May. That's all beginning, and the other half after June. That's the end of the year. So the United States is giving this whole time, and of course supported with the weapons, with arms, with money, with finances, in order to accomplish what they want to accomplish. Now, can Israel accomplish that?
Abu Talha, before you continue,
Go ahead.
Before you continue, because there is, I was just reading this thing because I wanted to present this to you. This is, I don't know if you saw the latest paper on Israeli conflict in the Foreign Affairs magazine.
No, I did not see that.
So the title is Israel's failed bombing campaign in Gaza. Collective punishment won't defeat Hamas. And then it says Israel. So this is a paper that was, December 6th, so just a few days ago.
Yeah.
One of the things that it mentions here is that there was is wrecking northern Gaza and now southern Gaza a prelude to sending the territory's entire population to Egypt,
Yes.
as proposed in the concept paper. This is a concept paper produced by the Israeli Intelligence Ministry. And it seems like this was produced even before this whole thing happened. Whatever the ultimate goal, Israel's collective devastation of Gaza raises deep moral problems, but even just purely in strategic terms, Israel's approach is doomed to fail, and indeed it is already failing. Although, there's much to be read here. The third page is about 11 to 12 pages here.
Yeah.
But
Look,
when you're looking at the concept paper, the idea is that this is already mentioned within the intelligence, within the strategic nature of what they're planning.
of course, it's a strategic plan. Now, by the way, when these articles end up in saying it's doomed to fail or it's failing, this may not be the correct statement. This may be a deception to make you relax. Because if you will insist that is happening, and it will happen, then you will see a big uproar in Egypt. In Egypt, the army, the police, the people. But now, here they say, yes, they do have a plan, but believe it or not, this is not going to happen. It's going to fail. So just relax. Just send some medicine if you have, send some water, send some humanitarian aids. Because the big bang plan, if you call it, that's failing. Now, it's failing means so that you will not have a campaign, a strong campaign to stop these atrocities or to stop that plan. Because all you care about now is let's get the aid across. Let's have a ceasefire. Let's exchange the prisoners of wars or the people who are held by Hamas or by the Israelis. So then you divert the attention from the real strategy is there. That's what the concept paper, that's what it's about. There is a real issue. And if it's not accomplished today for any reason, then that doesn't mean it will be taken away from their strategic plans. This state called the State of Israel is ready to wait every time 10, 15, 20 years before they pursue the plan, but they will never let go of it. Now, of course, they can let go of it if they know that an obstacle, a real obstacle, there is a big army that stands against them in Egypt or in Jordan or in Syria or in Lebanon that will not allow that to happen. Then you can say, well, it may have a chance to fail. But the way it's going on today, unfortunately, the Israelis will not let go of these plans. As I said, they already have a mandate from the United States of America. And the United States of America...
What it says, I was just looking at the concept paper, what it says is the paper was not intended to be released to the public or the press. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu downplayed the report, calling it a hypothetical paper the paper worsened the Israeli-Egyptian tensions.
Exactly.
Now it says again, a leaked document fuels concern. Israeli plans to push Palestinians from Gaza into Egypt. And then there is Palestinian refugee problems. I mean, okay, so what does tension mean? Meaning, the Egyptian intelligence is also reading this paper. If you and I are reading this paper,
of course.
And then usually these types of leaks are not, although it says not intended.
No, these are planned.
Is it intended?
These are planned, of course. And actually, when I talked to you a few minutes ago, I did not read this paper. I still have not seen it, but I have seen many other reports on this issue. Many other reports. And I've seen, I think I talked on this show a while ago, there was an article published in the Israeli journal or magazine or newspaper. I think it's Ma'arif, which is a prominent one, on 7th of October 2022, talking about not evicting the Gaza, but even evicting the Palestinians who hold the Israeli passports. And then he was arguing in that article, he's an ex-military general who published that article in the prominent journal in Israel. He was arguing that people in the world may not accept this plan, and therefore Israel must create a condition and environment where this can happen before the world can stop them from evicting the Palestinians. And one of the scenarios, he said, Israelis have to create a war in which many casualties will happen to the Israeli army, which will justify any act by the Israelis. That was October 7th, 2022. I will send you the article. You can publish it. It's published already in the Israeli press. So what I'm saying here, it could be hidden from people who do not read, but people who read and who now not only read. Look, even if I don't read that, I'm telling you, on the table, there is what's called a two-state solution declared by the United States. United States has been crying out for the last 30 or more, actually since 1968, since what's called William Rogers, the foreign minister at the time, during the era of Johnson, he was still president before Nixon came in. William Rogers, he came to the Middle East carrying a plan, and the plan is the two-state solution. Since then, nobody defined what these states are, where their borders are.
When was the first time the idea of two-state solution was used?
1968, after 1967 war. There were two resolutions. One resolution was led by Lord Kennington, the British foreign minister at the time, or prime minister, I'm not sure, who ended up in a resolution 242 in the Security Council. And then immediately after that, William Rogers came to the area. He met with Abdel Nasser, and they announced a new solution with a two-state solution. Two-state solution, an Israeli state and a Palestinian state. Nobody knew at the time, nobody actually saw the plan, the American plan. What are the borders of both states? Where these states are going to be? What are the limits of these states? What are the geography of these states? Even until came later on the Reagan plan, then the Obama plan, the roadmap of Obama, then Trump deal of the century, and so on. No one ever dared to come up to the public and say, this is what we mean by the two-state solutions. And to add to that, the borders between Israel and its neighbors have never been finalized. Now, Jordan had an agreement or a treaty with Israel which Jordan recognized the existence of Israel and got some land back, a few acres in the south and in the north of Jordan. But the borders between these two states are not defined. They have not defined them yet. And the borders between the
So
West...
are you saying, hold on, that brings a question. So are you saying that, look, this seems to, the plan was never for a two-state?
It was for a two-state.
Because if nothing is defined, ideally,
No.
But nothing has been defined ever.
No. What's not defined is where the Palestinian state is going to be. Is it going to be in the West Bank and Gaza, as they say? What is Israel? Is Israel as it sits after before 1967, which everybody is crying out for, and Israel says no way. I will not accept a state of Israel to have now about 30% of its population are Palestinians, who will become more than 50% in less than 20 years because of the birth rate among the Jews and among the Palestinians. Besides that, within this so-called Palestine, this strip that goes from Tel Aviv, Jaffa, and going south towards Gaza and the Naqab area. In these areas, there are two sides of Israel, on the right and on the left. What's called your these are like some loopholes, some holes. In one of them sits Gaza, in the other West Bank, and these are Palestinians. So the Israelis are saying, that's what their logic. What type of state is this? Almost half of it are Palestinians, and on its right hand and left hand, to the right of Israel and to the left of Israel, they're Palestinian here and Palestinian there. This is not a state. To them, this is not a state. The state should be complete state, which includes the entire land, which is today is called Palestine, with no Palestinians. Palestinians go wherever you want. Now, they do have a plan. Now, until today, there is a concept that is being repeated day after day in Jordan, which is called Jordan is Palestine. And there is another term called Al-Watan Al-Badil. Al-Watan Al-Badil means the alternative land, alternative Watan for the Palestinians is Jordan. Now, within the Jordanian community, because of the intelligence and the government, etc., they say no one should bring this up. No one should even mention that. No one should talk about that. Now, they never say no one should stop that from happening. No one should fight against that. It is the Israeli plan. You are telling me don't talk about it. Abu Talha, if you talk about it, we will throw you in prison. I cannot talk about that. Or anyone. You are not allowed to talk about the alternative land for Palestinians. Which means, that is the plan. That's the Israeli plan, at least. And can Jordan stop that as a country? Jordan declared that our army is not capable of fighting Israel. So what if Israel then force you to build a state in your land? Can you fight it? They said we cannot. Not me saying. That's they say, the Jordanian foreign minister, he mentioned our army is not powerful enough to face and fight Israel. So the issue here, which is not a hidden plan, Israel tells America, two-state solution, absolutely no, we will not accept it, we will not sign any treaty like this until and unless you guarantee to us that the entire land of Palestine is Israel. And the Palestinian state, do it wherever you can. In Egypt, in Syria, in Lebanon, in Jordan. That's your problem. It's not my problem. Build a state for them wherever you want. And that's what's happening today in Gaza. They say, go to Sinai. Sinai is too big. It can host you and millions more. And the West Bank, go to Jordan. And the Palestinians inside Israel, go either to Jordan or to Lebanon, whichever is closer for you. The end of the day, there are two issues on the table. America says, I need two-state solutions. And America doesn't care whether that the state of Israel is complete Palestine or half of it at the end of the day, or the Palestinian state is in Gaza and West Bank, or in Jordan and Egypt. America, for them, it's all the same. Just let's get.
But is it viable? Is it viable for them to push people, let's say, in Sinai? But I mean, infrastructure-wise, actually, is it?
Look, brother, I know where you're going. Already, Sinai, Arish, already has more than 200,000 tents, which are sent by the United Nations or UNRWA, preparing for any type of people who will arrive. And these tents they came through different countries in the area, whether it's Jordan or Egypt or Lebanon or Turkey, it doesn't matter. But the news coming from there is that there are already tents. Now they justify that just in case people from Gaza, they flee, so at least they will have places to live. No, come on. Don't give me this joke. In case they flee, you are pushing them. Look, when you are putting the gun behind the back of someone, keep moving or I will shoot you. He will keep moving. Now, at the beginning, they evicted them from the north of Gaza to Khan Yunis, which is somewhere in the middle, the mid-south of Gaza. Now,
few kilometers from Rafah.
Now, the whole war is in Khan Yunis, and which was declared earlier a safe haven for the Palestinians to be there. It's no longer a safe haven. You have to go to Rafah, which means you are only meters, only few meters away from. Once you are in Rafah, you are right on the border. All it takes is to create a hole where you go through. It's not even. It doesn't have to be the main gate. They can create 10 gates there. There is about 10 kilometers wide between Rafah until the sea. They can push them from wherever they want. Now, look again at this is the American deception. Biden has always been saying we are against forceful eviction. Called التهجير القسري, forceful. Pay attention to the word forceful. What does forceful mean? Forceful means I take you, I put you in a truck and drive you, throw you outside the border. That's forceful. But if I keep killing your children and your people so that you have fear for your own existence and your life and you flee, that's not forceful. See,
you made the decision.
Yeah, so I mean, read these words by diplomats. Big diplomats are liars by the fact, as a fact of matter. They are liars, and the more you can lie, the better diplomat you are. In fact, this is the Machiavellian politics. Machiavellian politics is say whatever you want as long as you want to achieve your goals. So now, what Biden and Blinken and all the American top officials, they say, التهجير القسري, forceful eviction is absolutely no. Okay, then what is yes? Any eviction which is not forceful. Now, what is forceful defined? Give me a definition of forceful. The definition of forceful, the only one that they will use in United Nations all over the world, is that an eviction that you take someone from his hand, you throw him in a truck and push him out. That's forceful. And I'm crying out, stop it, don't take me. You handcuff me, you throw me, and that's forceful. But if you make things hell for the people, and then the people have no other option but to flee, they would say that's the people. They migrated. It's migration. They fled. They ran away. And then to prove that point, even if they purposely keep 10 or 15 or 20,000 people all over, they say, see, these 20,000 people, they were under the bombardments and the killings, etc., but they didn't leave. Which means no one forced them to leave. No one forced the other ones to leave. If we were forcing others to leave, we would have forced these ones too. So usually these cases, they will keep someone, and later on this guy, they will find ways to get him out. They will give him a visa, find him a visa to go to work in America or in Canada or Europe or wherever, then they will leave. That's what happened in many villages in the West Bank. There are villages today that they do not have people who live. They have visitors who come and visit, because all of them are living either in Europe or in Canada or in America or in Latin America. They open the ways for them to get out, and their places have been confiscated by the settlers. Most of the settlements were done on lands for people where people used to live there, and they left, whether they left as refugees to the neighboring countries or left for with visas to some other places. So in short, brother, and for the people, today the Israeli plan is to get rid of all Palestinians, not half of them, not 1/3, all in Gaza and West Bank, in Israel itself. Get rid of them. Death, killing, destruction, by all means. Let them leave. Get them out.
What happens to PA in all of this? For instance, I've heard that they have close to 70,000 security officers with Abu Mazen or Mahmoud Abbas. So these guys will be just told to get out.
PA lost its dignity, leave alone existence, its own dignity, its own honor, when they sat in Oslo in isolation for a few months or a couple of years, until they accepted all the terms which were given to them by the Israelis and by the United States. And this was, part of it was written in the book by the CIA chief at the time of Clinton, William Bennett, where he said at some point the Palestinians, the PA, told William Bennett and Madeleine Albright at the time, look, let the Israelis put all the terms and conditions they want. We want to get over with this. Arafat will come and sign without even reading. If Israelis accept it, we will accept it. Now, the way he puts it, this is what he's saying. This is the chief intelligence of what came to be Palestinian Authority, Rjoub, because he was trying to convince William Bennett that Israelis are not going to sign a treaty even if they put all the terms, but we accept all. So this has two double meanings. One of it to say that the Israelis will always go back on terms, and on the other meaning is we are willing to accept anything as long as we will get our Palestinian so-called authority and the so-called the security zone. This was in Camp David back in I think the last year of Clinton. It was 1992 probably. No. Yeah, 1992.
Yeah, Oslo, I think. No, Camp David, that's right. Arafat was there.
Yeah. So it's in the book by William Tennant. I forgot the name of the book, but anybody can search William Tennant on the Palestinian issues, on Camp David talks between Israelis and the Palestinians. You will see that. So the PA lost it altogether. They are not even part of the game. They are waiting, the PA, they are waiting for any state that will be formed, wherever it is, to come and rule. And that's what the Americans are saying. The PA, Abbas, must have a role in the new state that's going to be created for the Palestinians. Now, does Abbas know that it's not going to be in the West Bank or Gaza? Of course he knows. He knows it could be anywhere. It could be in Jordan, Lebanon, Syria, Sinai. but most likely it's going to be in Jordan. Most likely it's in Jordan.
Oh,
Yeah. Now, part of the people who will be in Sinai, they will not be part of the Palestinian state. They can have their autonomy within the Egyptian state at large. But the Palestinian state per se, it will be in Jordan. It will be in Jordan, and that's now for me as a person, it doesn't matter whether it's a Palestinian or Jordanian state. Both are illegal. Both are from Islamic perspective. Now I'm saying it's all the same. The only thing that I do accept is an Islamic state, whether it's run by Palestinians, Jordanians, Malaysians, Pakistan. It doesn't matter as long as it's an Islamic state. But to those who run these countries, it does matter, because there is some very peculiar tribalist, nationalist things. But believe me, the Israelis know, they have calculated it all. They have calculated in Jordan, the majority of the population today in Jordan is a Palestinian population. Now, the West Bank that has been given as a Palestinian authority, which is not part of Jordan, has never been ratified in the Constitution of Jordan. So the Constitution of Jordan continues to have West Bank and East Bank are one country. This is today, there were some voices in Jordan asking the government to take the step to ratify the treaty of the separating West Bank from Jordan, and to put it in the constitution, so that the constitution now will say the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan, which contains only the Jordan part from the river to the through the east of the river of Jordan. But this has not been ratified, which means Jordan and Palestine and West Bank, constitutional wise in Jordan, is one unit. Historical wise it's one. So now what the Israelis are saying, this is too big for Palestinians and Jordanians. The East Bank is enough for you, for all. So
you don't need the West Bank.
you don't need the West Bank.
Now let's say this continues, just because then I mean, from our conversations, you were saying that they may make the Arabs
Pay for
move
it.
to these areas actually pay reparations.
Well,
I mean, is this reality? I mean, well, made it happen to other, Germany, I guess the example you would.
yeah, if you talk about Israel and the Jews, there is nothing called a red line. It's all open. It's all open. And we know the greed they have. Once they have, look, these guys, they never forget something they think is their right. If they can get it. In the Second World War, it is already a fact known that the Zionist group, led by Menachem Begin, what was the first prime minister?
Ben-Gurion.
Ben-Gurion.
Ben-Gurion?
Yeah.
No.
Ben-Gurion. Yeah. Ben-Gurion, with him was Menachem Begin as a young officer. They visited Germany, and they convinced the Nazis that we need the Jews to be in Palestine. They are not willing to migrate. Britain created Balfour Declaration. They allowed all types of migration. They made it easy. But these guys, they don't want to go. We need them to leave. And then the news started coming about Holocaust. Now there were some massacres, but not at the scale which they talk about, but there was what's called a scare. Scare the hell out of them. Let's do that. And they did. Once the news about the Holocaust and the gas chambers started spreading all over Europe, the number of migrations, Jewish migrations from Europe to Palestine doubled multiple times. Until 1939, the number of Jews who migrated to Palestine were less than 20% of the ones who migrated between 1939 and 1945 and 1948. In these last 10 years or 9 years, these are the years of the war. Now, even though this happened with conspiracies of the Zionist party led by Ben Gurion and Menachem Begin, Germans are still paying reparations until today. They make them pay. Now, taking this analogy, two-state solution comes in practice. America, Arabs, all the Arab countries, Middle Eastern countries, they sign, all. America says all. Everybody must. Including Syria, including Lebanon, including Iraq, including Sudan, including Tunis, including Libya, all. They have to sign and accept Israel as a state. Wherever Israel is. And let's say Israel does not take over Gaza and West Bank. The best scenario for the Arabs now, the best scenario which is accepted by all today without any argument, if Israel stays in the areas occupied before 1967, then this is fine. We accept that. Okay. Even if this, let's assume that I am wrong, that Israel will not take over Gaza and the West Bank. And if this happens, about the complete recognition that this is the state of Israel, then Israel will come and say, okay, who lived in these lands that is called Israel now before 1948? Palestinians. Where did you live? In the land of Israel. Why were you there? Because we thought it's our land. But now you sign a treaty and agreement that it's not your land. It's Israel. So now you have to pay for the time you were occupying my land. That's what they will say. And these are, we know whom we are talking about. These are not people who say, okay, alhamdulillah, it's all overdone, finish. Everybody goes his own way. No, they will not do that. Now, okay, how Palestinians are going to pay for that? Oh, it's easy. Easy. Palestinians are not going to live on their own lands with their own resources. They don't have what it takes to build a new country. They need loans. Where are they going to get their loans? From the World Bank and the IMF. Israel will take their money, which they will put it as a number every year from those payments that the Palestinian state will take from World Bank, IMF, or any other international banks, and these banks are in their hands anyway. All the banking system in the world are controlled by them, starting from the Fed Reserve to the World Bank to the IMF, which their members, again, these are the same banks which are the members of the Fed Reserve banks. They will take their money from there. I'm not even counting the Gulf states which are willing to pay. They will pay, but
I did see that I guess during the Gulf War, when Iraq attacked Kuwait, I know they made Iraq pay $40 billion for Kuwait. This is known, and of course, Germany also paid for, Germany and Japan paid for the destruction in World War II also.
So that's, no, look, I mean, what I'm saying is, those, especially the Arabs, who think now they are doing all they can do, tomorrow they will pay. They have to pay their, supposedly, the ex-enemy. And let me give you a scenario. In Jerusalem, in Al-Quds, there are homes today that the Israelis are willing to pay for a small 3-bedroom apartment in a building next to Al-Aqsa 5 or 10 or even $15 million. Palestinians don't sell. They will not sell because they are living there and they are part of Al-Quds, which is part of Israel today. So they are citizens. Tomorrow, when the Arabs, including the Palestinians, they sign the final treaty, assuming that Israel accepts everything, including, of course, Al-Quds, part of it is going to go to them, except the 144 dunum, which is divided by 4, it's almost 40 acres. 40 acres, which are called the holy places, which King Abdullah keeps talking about and Erdogan keeps talking about. There are 40 acres, these are sacred ones. Leave alone these 40 acres. Everything around it in Al-Quds, those things that cost millions of dollars, they will take them, they will confiscate them, and they will make you pay for the fact that you build a home on a land that does not belong to you. So this is the catastrophe. This is a catastrophe. What is happening today in front of our eyes is a very big catastrophe. And people are not paying attention to that. We are paying attention, of course, to the killings that's happening in Gaza, which is absolutely horrible and should not be accepted by anyone. This is no way anyone can accept that. But that is not the issue. The issue is not the humanitarian aid. The issue is not the number of people who died. The issue is not the number of children who were killed in cold blood. The issue is that today, in the making of the next history, a state of Jewish people in the land of Palestine, which is a Muslim land, is taking place at the time when the Muslims have lost their shield. The Muslim Ummah, including the Arabs and the Palestinians, they have no shield. You are fighting someone with bare chest. You are fighting with bare chest. You don't have a shield. You don't have a power behind you. And all the power that was supposed to be your power is against you, is even stopping you from doing whatever you have to do. Even if you are willing to fight bare-chested, you are not allowed to do that. That is the irony, and that's the catastrophe, and that's what really the big pain is. That's why I'm saying is, look, I don't know what does it take for the Ummah to really throw out all of these garbage regimes and replace them with one that cares about them, that cares about the plight of the people, at least so you don't have to pay for a land for your own land that you are evicted from. This can't be worse than that.
There is also, it seems to be already a plan that has been put together. I guess they're calling it truck zone, something like this, an alternative plan from rather than going through Yemen area and things like this. It's going to go through, looks like Dubai and Saudi Arabia and all the way up Israel. So, do you think that the Arab regimes are even thinking about the kind of discussion that you are having? I mean, is this because they're planning a whole
yes, they are thinking
trade routes that will make
they are thinking about the type of talks we are having, so they are stopping this talk. They are thinking about how to prevent this type of talk of reaching the proper people, because they might take action against them. These regimes are collaborating with the United States and Britain to make sure that Israel remains intact, because they think that the existence of Israel is the only guarantee for their continuity. That's what they think. They think that Israel will support them with money, with finances, with weapons. They can give them all types of intelligence about the people who are trying to uproot these regimes. Israel to them is it's very expensive type or an indispensable resource, investment on their side. That's why as soon as the Red Sea, Suez Canal route was at least under attack, or it's no longer safe, at least on the apparent side, immediately they acted upon the route that goes from Dubai through Saudi Arabia, through Jordan, all the way to Haifa. A shortcut, less expensive, and safe. Safe. Look, safe, which means they know that the trucks will go all the way through Saudi Arabia, maybe 1,500 kilometers in Saudi Arabia and about 600 kilometers in Jordan. So this is almost 2,100 kilometers, and finish it. It becomes about 2,500 kilometers, which is, it should be absolutely unsafe, logical wise. It's going through tribes. It's going through tribes, through nations, through people, next to people that carry from inside, internally, they don't accept the existence of Israel in Palestine. But they know that these regimes are able to protect these trucks. And by the way, if you think about it logically, in the sea, you would have a big ship going from, let's say, Dubai all the way to Haifa through the Red Sea. One ship with all cargo probably is equivalent to maybe 50 trucks, or maybe more, maybe 100 trucks. Now the ship is one. You can protect a ship in the sea. You will have a couple of boats, maybe some drones above it, some airplanes. You can protect it. It's not difficult to protect a ship in the sea against the Houthis. I don't buy that. It is, they can block the whole thing. With the American fleet inside, they can protect almost anything. But to protect, for every ship going through the water, 100 trucks driving 2,500 kilometers in supposedly an aggressive or area, people who are
enemy territory in many ways.
Yes, it is. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Well, it means that we are relying in Israel on the protection provided by the Emirate government, by the Saudi government, and by Jordanian government and their troops and their forces, where no one can attack these trucks. Although logically, all it takes is to have maybe some blockade of people. Just people sit on the streets. 1,000, 2,000 people would sit on the streets. No one is going to run over them with trucks. They can block it. It's a human blockade. It's easy, but the Israelis know that this will not happen. Know that these governments are so keen about supporting this state. Now, I'll give you even more. The time when Israel was created, or even when Balfour Declaration came into existence, the formation of states around this entity, this new entity that's going to be born, was immediately created at that time. One of the objectives of creating states next to Palestine was to make sure that there is, in this crescent around Palestine, from all over this half circle, is going to be a protectors of the newly born state, the new baby. It has to be protected. And we have seen examples of those in 1948, 1967, 1982, 1973. We have seen that. These states collaborated to make sure that this state of Israel is not harmed. That is the issue. Now, brother,
if you can, go ahead. No, what I was saying.
Yeah, I hear you.
No, the final thoughts on this is that now it may be. Well, I guess the Americans have given them the green light to continue on for January. Beginning of the year, they have to finish this. So there's too many things at play here. It could be that the Israelis take complete control of Gaza or at least the security of Gaza, which they already had anyway, but then they may just, that's one thing. The other thing may be complete restructuring of the region, a formation of a Palestinian state, which is, I didn't know that this was never defined, that Palestinian state, where it will be. It was just, there will be a Palestinian state. So, can Muslims, what can they do? I mean, there's obviously a lot of talk, calling upon the armies, calling for the Khilafah, there's no question about that. But immediately, what can they do?
Well, immediate
steps. Yeah. If you were to propose
immediate steps,
let's say 2 points.
2 points. Muslim Ummah have to realize one thing. What does it take? What does it take to move the armies? What does it take to move the armies? And do it. It's not calling. Now, what does that mean? It means exactly what I was saying at the very beginning. There was a time when the Israelis, when they wanted to create a state in Palestine, they had to visit and talk to the Khalifa of the Muslims. They had to talk to Sultan Abdul Hamid, and they visited and they talked and they discussed and they made a proposal, and they gave a proposal of wiping out all the loans of the Ottoman state, because they know that this is not an issue of Palestinians, which can sign a treaty, or Jordanians or Arabs or Egyptians. It is, there was one representative of the Ummah who can talk on behalf of the entire Ummah, which was Sultan Abdul Hamid. It's very simple. It's very simple. Today, the Muslim Ummah does not have to call on the armies, please move. Armies will not move. Armies don't move like that. Armies, you need to change their commander-in-chief so they can give them the order to move. The commander-in-chief, we have 54 commanders-in-chief in the Muslim world who are not willing to make that order. So what the Muslim Ummah should do today, well, they should build a campaign, very strong campaign, which consists of scholars, journalists, lawyers, students, professors, all walks of life, a campaign, and this campaign should become a living being, active around the clock, in order to make a pressure so that that figure that represents the Ummah, that Mu'tasim, that Harun Rashid, that Sultan Abdul Hamid, comes back and in existence. That's not difficult. That's not impossible. That's doable. It's not only doable, it's a must. And they know, already know. Look, I was mentioning this. In front of the entire Ummah, there are many cases. It's not only Gaza. Gaza is current because it's today, because the blood flows today. But you have the case of Gaza, you have the case of Syria. More than 5 million refugees around the world. Refugees inside Syria. You have Sudan is being torn apart. You have Libya, no stability. You have Yemen, torn apart. You have the Uyghur Muslims. They are in big camp, much bigger than Gaza. It's a big camp. Gaza has a camp of 3 million. There you have a big camp of almost 150 million people. You have the Myanmar Muslims. You have Kashmir. You have Kurdistan, the Kurds, their problems with Iraq, with Turkey, with Syria. And they are devastated. I'm not taking the side to say Kurds are wrong. They are not wrong. Because somebody built a case, the British, when they divided the area, they made sure that this group of people are scattered in different places. And they created nationalism, and they deprived them from nationalism, which means they created a problem. There is a problem called Kurdistan, whether you like it or not. And the Kurds will never accept any type of dominance except for a Khalifa. If he's a Khalifa, they will say, yes, we will do this for all of us. But to give me a Turk ruler over me, or an Iraqi ruler over me, or a Syrian or Iranian, why? And the same thing goes everywhere. Azerbaijan, there is a problem between Azerbaijan and Armenia. There are problems in Central Asia, in Chechen, in Dagestan. You name, wherever you go. Now, all of these issues, I'm pretty sure if you come to people in Myanmar, you say we have refugees, people are in camps, they don't have something to live. They say, yeah, we are willing to give part of the donations that we get. Somebody is giving us a loaf of bread, we will break it in half. One for us and one for Gaza. Because they are Muslims, they do that. But they need that piece of bread as much as they need it in Gaza. It's all these cases, they cannot be addressed. Everyone by their own national group. Or by, let's say today Hamas is taking the lead in Gaza. May Allah Azza wa Jal bless them and support them and give them the power. But it doesn't make sense to have a Hamas in Myanmar, Hamas in Uyghur, Hamas in Pakistan, Hamas in Kashmir, Hamas here. That's not a solution. That's not a solution of wise people. The solution is get this ummah one more time, get it back on its feet as an ummah, get it back with one leader, with one protectorate, with one shield, with one imam. This is the, look, sometimes I want to even cry blood with this. It's so obvious. The Prophet ﷺ, everybody, when somebody says about the Prophet something bad, everybody up on his feet. Well, I don't need people to go and protect the Prophet. Allah Azza wa Jal protects him. I need the people to protect the words of the Prophet. What he said, Al-Imamu Junnah, the Imam. The Imam means the Khalifa. He's Junnah. He's a protector. يُقَاتَلُ مِنْ وَرَائِهِ. You fight from behind his back. He is your leader. وَيُتَّقَى بِهِ. You take him as a shield. This is his statement. You are the Ummah so angry because someone in Belgium or in Denmark, he made stupid words about the Prophet. But you are not taking the words of the Prophet seriously. The Prophet doesn't need you to come and demonstrate against the people in Belgium or Denmark or France or wherever. The Prophet ﷺ, قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ فَاتَّبِعُونِي. Not protect me. If you really love Allah Azza wa Jal, then follow what I do. Follow me. And follow me. Look, all these problems that I mentioned, these problems, I cannot even count them here. With all Muslims, poverty alone, poverty, for the last 50 years, the largest portion, the largest number of poor people are in the Muslim world. According to UN statistics. It's not in Latin America. It's in Africa where Muslims are. It's in Asia where Muslims are. Asia, Indonesia, Malaysia, Pakistan, Bangladesh. It's not China, it's not Japan, it's not Korea, it's not Vietnam. There are poor people there because of stupid capitalism, but there are poor people in the Muslim world not only because of stupid capitalism, but because of wrong regimes, because of the imperialists put some people who suck the blood of the people. These are problems. And the Prophet ﷺ says, look, you will never be able to solve these problems. You will never be able to eliminate poverty or refugees until and unless you follow me. You follow my steps. So what the Muslim Ummah today need to come back, and this is my duty and your duty, is to really build a campaign, a real campaign, a campaign to rally as many of the Ummah as possible, especially the ones who with influence. We need the journalists who talk, the brave journalists, like the ones we see of Al Jazeera, who are sacrificing their lives, and Al Arabiya and others, who really put their life on the line. These are very strong people, very good people. We need their support to rally behind this cause of the Ummah. We need...
No, this is very, yes.
Yeah, we need the lawyers. We need the lawyers who can build cases, who build cases, real cases, not fake cases. Cases that will enable you to talk and discuss and lobby and get your campaign. Not to take the Jews to the court. criminal court. Criminal court is not going to rule against Israel, because criminal court was made for you and me, was not made for America and its allies. You need lawyers to come and build cases, real cases for us to fight for. You need journalists, you need scholars, you need scientists who can convince our ummah that we are not weak, that we can be technologically advanced. The moment you achieve your first objective, first line of defense, you get it, we guarantee as scientists we will make you the most advanced technologically country in the world. You need them. You need students who can impact the people in their universities, and they can lobby the support for this new model of Muslim world. America wants the Muslim world, the model of America and the Muslim world is scattered regions, a region called Indo-Pakistani, a region called the Gulf, a region called Middle East, and a region called Africa. These regions, and they want to put on top of these regions agents of them who get fed and who feed them with gold, and they stuff them with gold and with money all the way through their big bellies. They have all of this money. That's what their model. Our model, which Islam calls for, is one ummah, one unit, from Indonesia all the way to Morocco, from Algeria all the way to Turkey. This one model. It's not multiple regions. One model that's absolutely independent. A model that has the resources in its hands. We are not building a model to make the world starve. We are building a model to make the people happy, to live with resources without having to steal them. Look, the French, the Germans, the Bulgarians, they went to Africa, they stole wealth, they stole gold, they stole. Muslims, whenever they went to countries, they brought to them technology, they brought science, they brought knowledge, they brought well-being. This is a model that did work. Everybody knows that. This is not something we are making it up. Let the people check the history. And we are part of that history. We are a continuation of it. This is, look, when I talk about this, I cannot understand how people, especially Muslims, don't hold tight on this type of model and say, let's do it. Come on, let's do it. Let's go for it. And I am willing to start a campaign. I'm willing to start a campaign and to talk to as many people as possible and to get to lobby people so that we have a concrete objective to do, so that this ummah comes one more time, one ummah, one strong ummah. At that time, you don't even need to fight for Palestine, because there will not be a Jewish state there. They will not even stand to be part or in the middle of this one unified strong ummah. They will not. You don't even have to fight them.
Inshallah, Sheikh, we have to, because of the time, we have to end it here. But I think this idea, the campaign, a serious campaign to wake the Ummah has to be done, and I'm in agreement with you. We are already, as you know, we will support this campaign. And we do need scholars and intellectuals like you, professors, people who know the deen, and I think this has to be done. I think we don't have choices anymore, Abu Talha.
No, I agree.
There is no choice here. I mean, we are, our children, our families, our brothers and sisters are paying with blood, with pure blood, and watching this and doing nothing would be direct road to hellfire. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from this.
Inshallah.
So, Sheikh, with this, inshallah, we'll end up this program. But I think the discussion regarding the campaign, we must have live, bring people in, and put the idea in front of the masses, and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it happen, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Barakah and tawfiq, inshallah. Alright, Shaykh, then we'll see you next time. And for those who are watching, bi'iznillahi ta'ala, don't forget the conference tomorrow. Also, we have 2-day conference going on at Islamic Oasis.